All right, I'm going to stop and make a video here. 11:28. I think a lot of people were interested in this subject. Um, I don't know what you call it. Variable pattern with extruded cut. I personally needed a roof drain, so I was going to model a roof drain. So here we go. Start out with a new part. Maybe top plane. Going to draw a circle. Oops, wait a minute. Messed up already. Cancel out of that. Let's take the top plane, hold down Control, and grab it and pull up another plane. Let's make this plane, I don't know, 2.5 inches away from the default top plane. Fine with me. And say okay to that. Now, if I want to see all my planes, I got to go over here, slowly and carefully, click on right there. And I get to see all my planes. I guess that's okay. All right. So we're going to take a circle, and it wants us to pick a plane. We're going to pick the top plane, the one we just made. Not the top plane, but the top plane. Draw a circle. This one's going to be, let's say, 4 inches. Let's just say okay for now. Now let's take another sketch. Circle. Oops. We're not out of there yet. So let's just cancel out of that. And okay, now we're out. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be working on the same sketch, continuing to draw on this sketch. So I had to make sure I was out of this sketch right here and about to make a new one, which you can pick sketch right here, or you can pick the circle. It's going to ask you, where do you want to draw this sketch? This time it's going to be on the top plane. And this time it's going to be a 5-inch circle. This will all make sense in a minute. Okay. Pretty cool. Say yes to that. Now we got two sketches, a 4-inch sketch and a 5-inch sketch on different planes, 2.5 inches apart from each other. And we're going to do a feature called a loft. We're going to go from that one to that one. And we kind of really want this to be straight up and down. Wonder if I can give it some constraints. I know I can move it. I can just move it until it's more better. You know, there ought to be some way I can constrain it to a point on the circle or something. Oh well, not going to worry about that. Okay, so now we got my roof drain. We're going to shell it out. Let's go with 0.02. We want it to be thin. And right there, and say yes. And we got it shelled out. Nice. You know, I think that's a little bit tall for a roof drain, but I don't know. I could change that if I wanted to. I could just make this plane less far away from the top plane, like 2 instead of 2.5. And everything would rebuild, and there you go. Now I can get rid of looking at these planes. Okay, I'm still shelled out. Control 1 is a front view. Control 7 is a typical ISO view. All right, time to get started. I'm going to make another sketch with a line on the top here, and I'm going to go from the middle to the middle point, constrained. I'm going to make sure it's construction only. And I'm going to go from here over to here, make sure it's construction. Then I'm going to go from here up to here. Okay, make sure it's construction. Then I'm going to do a mouse gesture, which is right click and slide sideways a little bit. Mouse gesture is pretty cool. Grab my dimension tool and put in about 65 degrees right there. Then I'm going to escape out of my dimension tool. Seems like I got to hit escape a couple of times. It doesn't want to. Oh, I guess it needs to get out of there. Okay. I'm going to mirror this one right here. This entity on that plane and say yes. Okay. Now I can start to draw. I'm going to draw a 3-point arc slot. I'm just going to go here, straight across to there, and then about there. And then I'm going to do about that. Those can all be changed. We're kind of going to change them anyhow. Now I escape out of that. I wish I could escape out of that. Why does it not let me escape out? It should. Yeah, it should. Okay, here's a little tip. Now you're going to try to make some, you're going to say, give me that arc and make it tangent to that line. Give me that arc and make it tangent to that line. I'm holding control while I select the arc and the line. And then this is interesting right here. I noticed this yesterday. This is never going to work until you take this center point and control, hold your origin, and make them coincident. Okay? Now I'm going to go back to my, I do a mouse gesture, go back to my dimension, and that line to that line, which, you know, it follows it straight out, whatever. I'm going to leave it at 0.1, or I'm going to make it 0.1 exactly. So we're pretty cool now. If I escape, God dang it, why won't escape take me out of this tool? I think there's something wrong with my keyboard. Really a bummer. Especially while I'm making a video. I can exit the sketch over here, or Control Shift Q. Then I can go back into the sketch. See, once I can get out of my dimension tool, this is crazy, man, crazy. Some kind of glitch. It won't let me. It's got to be my keyboard. It's got enough food dropped in it. Oh, this really sucks, man. This is why I don't make videos, okay? I'm going to start the crater here. Here's where I start the crater. I don't know. Let's just edit the sketch. Okay, that was pretty easy. And let's just show ourselves how it's constrained now. If I drag it, it will always be 0.1. It'll always be tangent to those lines. And everything is golden. Golden. This is how it's going to work. Taking mouse gesture to a dimension and go from here to the origin and put on there about, I don't know, it doesn't matter, 0.45. And that'll be my first slide. Now I'm ready to make a variable pattern. Controlled, fully defined sketch. In fact, if I want to now, I can go to my feature and do the extruded cut. If I do blind 0.1, that's certainly going to go through my 0.02 plastic. If I go through all, that's going to work. If I go through all in both directions, I think that'll work. Blind 0.1 will certainly work. And I now have a slotted hole in my drain. Okay. Control 1. Nope. Control 4, 5. There we go. Control 5. Or You could pick that face and do Control 8, which is normal to whatever face you picked. I hope this is all making sense. Okay, so we got a sketch, and we're ready for the next step, which is a variable pattern. Now, this is trickier than hell. Nope, I'm sorry, not a variable pattern. Why did I even say that? A lineal pattern that uses a vary sketch. Notice this is not, you can't pick that, choose that. The direction I want has got to be the dimension from the origin to the center of the slot. But how do I get to see it? How do I get to choose it? I spent so much time trying to figure this out that this is where it's going to pay off watching this video. You got to go to the feature first and tell it you're going to repeat this extruded cut feature. Now it gives you the dimension to choose from as your direction. You got to pick this dimension as your direction. And see, it's trying to repeat it. How about change the spacing 0.18 and change the number of them to 8. And we got ourselves a wing-ding lineal pattern using a vary sketch. If you don't have this selected, which now you can select it, it actually was selected and when it was grayed out, but it's a complete different result. Here, it's not what we want. So let's go back to the vary sketch. That's what we want. Now we can change any of these things while we're having fun. I'm going to change that from 0.1 to 0.125. And ouch. Where's my full preview? Oh, I'm getting a full preview. So I could either say, okay now, and watch the result. No copies specified for the pattern. Interesting. I clear that out. I said I could have some fun with it, but I guess I effed myself. It needs a rebuild. Sucker. So I could do that, or I could do Control-Shift-Q. Oh, it's our number of copies. Nope. See? Go back to, there it is. Finally, everything got messed up when I changed something. 0.17 or 0.19. 8 of them. Huh. Looking good now. There it is. Got the lineal pattern. Of course, the next thing is a circular pattern in this direction. 360 degrees, 6 of them makes a perfect drain, and bada boom. I got the top of my drain. Wee-haw! You know, and if I want, I can put some fillets around here. Not really going to make it about that right here, but why not? It's that easy. Drop a fillet on that thing. All right, but here's the next thing I wanted to do. I wanted to do a sketch and think about it. You're going to do another slot, a straight slot, but I'm going to have to draw it on the right plane or the front plane. I want to come straight up from my origin. Pretty cool. Then I want to do an extruded cut. And this time I could do all in one direction. Why not? I could probably do both directions, but It doesn't matter because then I'm going to do another circular pattern, 360 degrees on this cut with a direction of that, and features are that. There we go. 6 of them, but I want more than 6. I want 12. It's a drain, for cripe's sake. Lucky 13. Yeah, looks good enough. There it is. Hope that helped everybody. Hoped it made sense. Have fun with it. It is a fun tool. Hit me up with any questions if I left something out. I'll try to do an amended video. Who am I kidding? No, I won't. Let's put a flange on it real quick. Why not? Why? Because we can. Let's sketch on the bottom of this thing right here. And let's do a, I don't know, 3-point circle. Boom. Boom. And boom. Okay. So we made a circle. That's one way to do it. Hard to tell if it's there or not, but it's there. You can switch to wireframe. I don't know. There it is right there. Then we're going to do an offset about 0.75 on the circle we just made. Maybe not so much. 0.5 for a flange. Say okay. Oops, we didn't make the inside circle. Hard for the water to go through this sucker. Or did I do it right? Guess I didn't extrude it yet. And merge the result. Oh yeah. Not cool. Not much of a roof drain. All right, let's delete out of that. I'll show you a better way. Kind of don't know why it did that. Let's go back in and have a look at the sketch. Should have allowed us to pick on the boss extrude. Should have allowed us to pick only that. Geometric conditions. Something went nutso. Let me think for a second. Why is this filling in? Okay, I'm editing the sketch, so I'm gonna get rid of my whole sketch. I have no sketch. I select that, and I do convert entities this time. I offset it, and I pay more attention. I am done, and this time it works. Okay, don't know how to explain it, but I do know one thing. You just got to keep going. Merge the result. I like that. 0.1. No, probably 0.02 like the rest of it. Which direction is it extruding? That's good enough for me. Downward, upward. Does it make any difference? It's going to be good no matter what. Put some holes in the perimeter. All right. Hope it was fun.